Taiwan's presidential election is a three-way race. North Korea brings back weapons and troops to shut border posts. Israel-Hamas truce in Gaza extended for 2 days. Myanmar ethnic groups alliance capture key trade crossing. Russia's defense in Crimea washed away in brutal storm. Heavy snowfall in Eastern Europe leaves many without electricity. South Korea, Japan, and China agree to resume trilateral leaders summit. Russia puts the spokesman for Meta on a wanted list.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It's Tuesday, November 28th, and here are your top stories. Taiwan's main opposition parties have filed individual bids to unseat the ruling Democratic Progressive Party as the billionaire founder of Apple supplier Foxconn dropped out of the presidential race hours before the nomination deadline last Friday. There are 3 parties contesting Taiwan's January 13 polls to elect a new president: the ruling Democratic Progressive Party, Taiwan People's Party, and Kuomintang Party. A potential alliance of the 2 major opposition parties failed to materialize last week.
CNBC said the outcome of Taiwan's elections will likely go some way in influencing testy U.S.-China ties and impact security in Asia-Pacific more broadly. Even though Beijing sees the DPP as separatists, Lai Ching-te and the DPP have consistently topped opinion polls. Despite this, the gap between Lai and second-placed Ko Wen-je has been slowly narrowing in the last few months. Some observers say the failure to see through a combined ticket with Kuomintang may split the opposition vote and strengthen the ruling DPP.
Yonhap news agency reported Monday that South Korean military officials spotted activity near the post inside the demilitarized zone last week using cameras and thermal imagery. The Defense Ministry also released images that it said showed a handful of soldiers outside of a small post inside the DMZ. North Korea had detonated 10 of 11 guard posts inside the DMZ in the wake of a summit about 5 years ago between leader Kim Jong-un and then South Korean President Moon Jae-in.
Current President Yoon Suk-yeol, a conservative, has been skeptical about the deal struck by his predecessor, who advocated rapprochement with Pyongyang. Yoon's government last week suspended part of the 2018 agreement after North Korea put the spy satellite in orbit, with Seoul resuming reconnaissance flights near the border that were suspended under the agreement. North Korea then announced it intended to scrap the entire accord.
On Monday, Qatar said a truce between Israel and Hamas forces in Gaza had been extended by 2 days, continuing a pause in 7 weeks of warfare. In a post on X, a Qatar Foreign Ministry spokesperson said an agreement has been reached to extend the humanitarian pause for an additional 2 days in the Gaza Strip. Hamas also said it had agreed to a 2-day extension. A White House official confirmed the agreement had been reached.
Later, the Israeli military said the Red Cross had confirmed 11 hostages, the latest to be freed under the terms of the original truce that had been due to end on Monday night, were on their way to Israel. Qatar said the newly released hostages included 3 with French citizenship, 2 with German citizenship, and 6 Argentine citizens. Hamas said earlier it had received a list of 33 Palestinians to be released from Israeli jails in return. It said these included 3 female prisoners and 30 minors.
An alliance of armed ethnic minority groups had launched a surprise offensive last month against Myanmar's military seized a major trading gate on the country's northeastern border with China on Sunday. The Myanmar National Democratic Alliance Army told the Associated Press that the Kim Sung-kwok border gate, one of the 5 major trading gates in Muse Township along the Myanmar-China border in northern Shan State, was seized on Saturday by the alliance forces.
Muse hosts a 105-mile trade zone and has the greatest volume of trade with China. It is the 4th border crossing seized by the alliance forces in a month of intense fighting. Kayan San Kiat is the second of 5 border gates in Muse Township that has come under the control of the alliance, along with 2 others elsewhere. The Arakan Army, the Myanmar National Democratic Alliance Army, and the Tong National Liberation Army, calling themselves the Three Brotherhood Alliance, launched a coordinated offensive on October 27.
According to news outlet Nexta, Crimea was hit by a major storm on Sunday, resulted in waves as high as 26 to 33 feet, and threatened many areas with flooding. Ukrainian officials reported that Russian coastal defense lines had been destroyed in the process. Anton Gerashchenko, an advisor to the Ukrainian Minister of Internal Affairs, claimed that Russian defenses dug into the peninsula's beaches have been washed away.
Gerashchenko wrote on X, "A storm washed away trenches in occupied Crimea that Russian army dug out on the beaches." He said, according to information from Crimean media, in Yevpatoria the water washed away the defense line on the coast, engineering buildings, and firing positions. Nexta reported, hurricane winds of up to 40 meters per second are ripping out trees and tearing off roofs. Many districts of Yevpatoria are flooded, and public transport has been halted in Sevastopol.
Heavy snowfall and strong blizzards in Romania and Moldova on Sunday left one person dead and hundreds of localities without electricity, as well as forcing the closure of some national roads. In Bulgaria, powerful winter storms also brought heavy snowfall and prompted the government to declare a state of emergency on Sunday in large parts of the country. More than 1,000 settlements, mostly in Bulgaria's northeast, were left without electricity on Sunday.
According to Bulgaria Prime Minister Nikolai Denkov, strong winds also closed roads, caused traffic accidents and travel delays, and downed trees and power lines. In Romania, red weather warnings were issued in the eastern counties of Constanța, Tulcea, Galati, and Brăila, where winds were forecast to reach as high as 100 kilometers per hour. Romania's Minister of Energy Sebastian Berduha told the Associated Press on Sunday that more than 400 localities had suffered electrical outages.
The South Korean Foreign Minister Park Jin told reporters Sunday after his meeting with Japan's Yoko Kamikawa and China's Wang Yi in Busan, South Korea. We three ministers agreed to restore and normalize three-nation cooperation at an early date. Park said the three ministers affirmed an earlier agreement by lower-level officials to restart the summit at their earliest mutually convenient time and agreed to expedite preparations for the meeting. Kamikawa separately said the ministers agreed to speed up their work to achieve the summit at an early and appropriate timing.
According to South Korean and Japanese statements, the three also agreed to push for diverse cooperation projects in areas such as people-to-people exchange, trade, technology, public health, sustainable development, and security. Observers say the lack of an agreement on the timing for the trilateral summit would suggest the top-level gathering won't likely happen this year. On Sunday, South Korea, Japan, and the U.S. held maritime drills involving the USS Carl Vinson aircraft carrier near the Korean peninsula.
According to an online database maintained by Russia's Interior Ministry, the country has added the spokesman of U.S. technology company Meta to a wanted list. Russian state agency TASS and independent news outlet Mediazona first reported that Meta Communications Director Andy Stone was included on the list Sunday, weeks after Russian authorities in October classified Meta as a terrorist and extremist organization, opening the way for possible criminal proceedings against Russian residents using its platforms.
According to Mediazona, Stone was put on the wanted list in February 2022, but authorities made no related statements at the time. On Sunday, Mediazona claimed that an unspecified Russian court issued an arrest warrant earlier this month for Stone on charges of facilitating terrorism. The media said after Russian troops moved into Ukraine, Stone announced temporary changes to Meta's hate speech policy to allow for forms of political expression that would normally violate its rules, like violent speech such as "death to the Russian invaders."
The answer for yesterday was A, conscious. He was conscious of the faint, musky aroma of aftershave. Did you answer correctly? Now let's delve into the news of heavy snowfall in Eastern Europe, leaving many without electricity. Number 1, settlement. 有指拓荒安家的定居点. The village is a settlement of just 50 houses. Number 2, blizzard. 暴风雪，大批侵扰性的事物. A blizzard was blasting great drifts of snow across the lake. A blizzard of documents. Number 3, locality. 围绕所处或提及的地区. There's no airport in the locality. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comments section. The correct answer will be announced tomorrow. And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune in to Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I'll see you next time.